You talked about ancient aliens a little bit. I was curious to get your take on Pseudo-Assyriology. Is that something that exists, or is there anything, because we have something called pseudo-history, and it's when historical arguments aren't really based on the evidence that they say they are. Do you run into this in Assyriology?
Yeah, that guy that I mentioned, Zecharia Sitchin, I think probably falls pretty squarely into that, or fell into that category. He's since passed, but I've got one of his books up on my shelf that I had to make my way through, called the 12th Planet. And one of the things that, if you don't know Sumerian, for example, if you don't know how to read the language, it can be kind of difficult to figure out that he maybe isn't the expert that people think he is. And one of the things that was very telling to me as I read through the book was that, and I won't go into detail here because it would probably kind of try, but the Sumerian words can be used at least two different ways, or Sumerian cuneiform signs. They can be used to represent nouns themselves. So there's a symbol called that's called the Dinger sign. It's a star symbol. It looks like a star. And it's the sign that's used when they want to write the word on. And on means sky or heaven. So A-N, on. However, so if you write the star symbol, you can just be saying sky or heaven, and that makes sense because it's a star, right? However, they learned pretty quickly when they were developing the writing system that you could use the sound of the word itself to create other words. So if you wanted to write the word Bandu in cuneiform, you could use the Ba symbol, the Ba sign, the On sign, and the Do sign, and put them all together. So you're using them phonetically.
It's like jazzercise, almost.
Like maybe.
Jazz exercise. Or maybe.
Sort of.
Like you're mashing words together, right?
Yeah, sort of. But for a phonetic reason. So the example that I always give is...
Sorry to interrupt. I see what you're saying. I think you're saying that they're using just the noise of that.
Yes.
So it's not the actual word with the meanings entailed. But so that's right. I understand now. That makes sense.
So yeah, and that, the example I think that is always most clear for the audience is if I were to go to a graduation and they were to say, look, we're going to read everybody's name out. Some people have funny sounding names that we don't know how to pronounce, or they look funny, whatever. Can you write your names out phonetically? I wouldn't write Joshua because that's not phonetic. That's how it's spelled. Instead, I would write JAH-SHOE-WAH, Joshua. Well, the word shoe in the middle, SHOE, has nothing to do with footwear, right? As you said, we're just using that word for its sound, not for its meaning.
Yep. And it wouldn't make sense to put a shoe on your jaw.
Right, exactly. But what happens is when you read through, to bring it back to Sitchin, when you read through his book, he'll have these verbal forms written out in Sumerian. And you look at them and you say, okay, well, I know what that Sumerian verb is, but it's made up of 3 or 4 different signs. And instead, I know it's just those 3 or 4 signs are being mashed together to make the pronunciation of one word. But what he's doing is he's saying, okay, well, on here, that means sky. And then do here means to build. And so undo, all right, so it's the building of the sky. And you're like, no. There's no meaning individually. It's just all those signs get put together to make that one word using their sounds. Anyway, that was probably overly technical. If you're interested in that, audience, stop by on Sunday evenings at 7:30 Eastern. to the Atheist Network Group's channel, and you can learn Sumerian. That will make sense to you. But yeah, reading that stuff and you say, well, gosh, he just doesn't know Sumerian. And so much of what he says is predicated on him knowing Sumerian. So, I mean, I think that's Pseudo-Assyriology, sort of quintessentially.
Right, where they're not using the source material how it actually is. It's a poor reading at best.
Yeah, at best.
Before I go, I owe the Ctruth patrons a huge thanks for their continued support in my endeavor to explore the world of chronology. Thank you all. Like the video, hit the subscribe button, drop a comment, and check out these other videos.